All right, let me paint you a picture one you don't see every day, unless you've spent too many years around county fairgrounds and places where folks talk more to horses than each other. Imagine Tisan auction barn full of bored faces, dust thick enough to chew, the kind of crowd that gets a kick out of other people's bad luck. And then they lead in this sorry-looking horse, so skinny you can count its ribs, one hind leg dragging like an old memory, and I swear, you could feel the air shift with all the judgment in that room. Folks laughed, the cruel kind, the kind that comes easy when it isn't your problem. Yeah, that happened. Auctioneer goes, number 61, gelding, 6 years old, no papers, start at $1. And the laughter ripples through, because who in their right mind would bid on that? But from the back, there's this old man Elijah Creel, hat faded to the color of bone, boots dust-caked, a coat missing a button, standing so quiet you'd think he was part of the barn itself. Most don't know him, and those who do, well, they swap stories about the ranch he lost, the son who left, how he just quit talking to folks altogether. But when Elijah lifts his hand and says $1, the whole place freezes. Not because they think the horse's luck is changing, but because they're already sure it's the dumbest move of the day. Nobody else bids, not even for a laugh, so when the gavel comes down, sold. And let me tell you, the snickers follow Elijah like burrs, someone muttering, should have paid him to take it, another, more glue than gallop, that one. But Elijah just takes the lead, nods to the wrangler, and starts the long walk to his rusted-out trailer at the far end of the lot. The horse doesn't fight Duisent, do much of anything except follow, like he's had practice at losing. Elijah matches his pace, both of them moving like the world's forgotten how to hurry. When they reach the trailer, Elijah pats him and says, "Name's Samson. Don't know yours yet, but we'll get there. I don't know about you, but there's something about that naming what you hope for, not what you see." Anyway, he gets the horse loaded up, and the ride home's an hour through fields that look like they're holding their breath, barns slumped with age, fences barely standing. His place used to be something, folks say, but now it's just a few tired acres and a barn leaning so hard it's a miracle it stands at all. But Elijah is not in a rush. Is patient in the way only people who've lost a lot can be. He beds the horse down, sets out water, and says, "No rush. You got time now." That night, he sits on his porch, coffee barely more than brown water, watching the stars, listening to the horse shift in the stall. He hadn't planned to buy anything. He tells himself just comes to auctions to see what's being tossed out. But that horse, it reminded him of one he had years ago, a Mustang named Cypress. Wild and mean, but loyal, the kind you ride in silence because words get in the way. Cypress died 5 years back, right after Elijah's son, Luke, vanished. Since then, Elijah's kept mostly to himself. Wasn't trying to replace Cypress who could, but there was something in that broken horse that wouldn't let him walk away. Come morning, there's a wind sharp enough to cut, and Elijah's up before the sun, carrying oats to the stall. The horse looks at him, tired but not spooked. "Gonna call you Dusty," Elijah says. "That's what you were when I found you." Dusty sniffs at the oats, then eats, slow and careful. And over the next few days, Elijah just gives him Spacino sudden moves, just the quiet routine of cleaning stalls, fresh hay, letting Dusty get used to having someone there who doesn't ask for anything but trust. Little by little, Dusty lifts his head more, puts weight on that bad leg, lets Elijah get close with a brush. Elijah talks, mostly to fill the silence about the weather, about how feed's too expensive, about the son who left after a fight and never came back. "Every time I go to an auction, I think maybe I'll see him there," Elijah says, "but it's always just ghosts." You know what I mean? Sometimes what's gone hangs heavier than what's left. For the first time in years, Elijah leaves the stable door cracked, lets the sounds mingle, horse breathing, wind in the grass. Days pass, Dusty's limp gets better, his coat shines up, muscle returning like hope you almost forgot about. Elijah waits she knows better than to force things. When Dusty's ready, Elijah leads him to the round pen, no saddle, just a rope halter and patience. Dusty circles, tense but willing, and when he finally turns in, Elijah just nods. That's it. That's the start. Soon enough, Dusty's taking the saddle nervous, but he trusts Elijah. When Elijah climbs aboard, he rides slow, just a walk, letting Dusty figure things out. You could feel something change, then a kind of hope that starts with trust, you know? Every morning after, they fall into a rhythm, Elijah working, Dusty watching, sometimes both just existing in the same quiet. Finn hears your twisted truck, pulls up one evening, clean and out of place, and out steps a man Elijah recognizes before he wants to. It's Luke, 12 years gone, hair shorter, face older, but the eyes are the same. He says, "Hey, Dad," and Elijah feels like he forgot how to talk. Turns out, someone in town told Luke about the auction, about Elijah buying a horse nobody wanted, looking older than ever. "Didn't think you'd come back," Elijah says. "Didn't think I would either," Luke admits. They sit down to stew and bread, words slow and clumsy, talking about the places Luke's been, horses he's worked, life on the road. He mentions Cyprus, and Elijah looks away. "He died after you left. Wandered off and never came back." Figured, Luke says, he was always half wild. That night, Elijah shows him Dusty. "He looked worse when I got him," he says, and Luke nods, sizing the horse up. "He's got more fight than I thought. That limp won't stop him forever." For the next week, they work together, not saying much about the past, just enough to admit it hurts. Luke rides Dusty, careful and respectful, and the horse responds, learned to choose who he trusts. One morning, Luke asks what Elijah's going to do with Dusty. "Keep him, let it be what he wants," Elijah shrugs. Luke suggests the local fairs coming up, maybe Dusty's ready. Elijah isn't much for crowds, but doesn't say no. That evening, he finds a flyer for the Spring County Horse Show with a note. "I'll ride him if you let me, or stand by you if you change your mind." Elijah holds the flyer a long time, the want so sharp it aches. 3 weeks, they train horse and son, both learning trust again. At the fair, the crowd watches, expecting nothing. But Dusty's transformed, coat shining, stride strong, head high. Luke wears an old blue shirt, calm as ever. They don't win first, some girl with a perfect quarter horse takes that, but they win something bigger. After, Luke says, "You made him whole." Elijah shakes his head, "He made us whole." But as crowds disperse, that old tension creeps back. Luke has offers, places to go, and Elijah, voice steady, says, "Not asking you to stay. But the fence line needs mending." Luke grins, "You offer me a job?" "I'm offering you a place," Elijah replies. That night, they sit on the porch, silence comfortable for the first time in years. Next morning, Luke helps fix the fence, Dusty watching from the shade. No big speeches, just work, healing in the doing, not the saying. A week later, Luke says he's heading to Montana for a cattle drive. Maybe take Dusty if Elijah's willing. Elijah leans beside him, both staring at the fields. "I spent years trying to make this place what your mama wanted. Forgot to be what you needed." Luke shrugs, wasn't ready to stay. "Maybe I should have tried anyway." They stand there, weight of regret between them, but something new, too, maybe forgiveness. That evening, Luke packs just the basics, a journal, his mother's old brass spur. Elijah gives him a faded handkerchief, inside the spur, and a note. "It was your granddad's. He always said, pressure only works if you let up sometimes." They shake hands, not just father and son, but two men who found each other on the other side of loss. As the truck rolls out, Elijah watches them go, dust rising in the last light. A week later, a letter comes. Dusty crossed the river like he owned it. First day, outworked every other mount. "You were right. He wasn't broken. Just waiting for the right hand. Maybe I was too. Tell the fence it'll get mended when I get back. Luke." Elijah reads it 3 times, leaves it by his coffee, and looks out at the empty corral, the wind whispering of hoofbeats. Out in Montana, Luke sits by a fire, Dusty nearby, both of them at peace, at least for now. So here's the thing, maybe redemption isn't some big finish, not a blue ribbon or a crowd cheering your name. Maybe it's the everyday choosing to stay, to trust, to forgive, to try again, plank by plank. You decide, can you ever really fix what's broken, or do you just find new ways to build something better? Tell me, if you were standing in Elijah's boots, would you have bid $1, or would you have looked away? Share your tacky on forgiveness, on second chances, on what makes a home. I'll be reading.